with Chef Ash. Okay, today we are making some chuck roast inside of the crock pot. We're starting off by dabbing that meat dry after we did that wash, and we're going to go ahead and go in with our seasonings. First, we're going to take some of that Lowry seasoning salt across that meat, very generous. A little cracked black pepper. Then we're going to go in with some turmeric. I incorporate this in probably every dish. We're going to take some oregano, and that's ground oregano. And then next, we're going to go ahead and go in with some of that garlic butter seasoning from, what's that, Grill Mates, McCormick. And then we're going to get some of that Bodega Complete. Look, you know, get that cap off, girl. And like I said, just make sure you rub that seasoning in that meat just so you know it's getting all the flavor. We're going to add some of that paprika in there. Most of my seasonings are new. Run through them really quick. Go ahead and put that top back on. Get some of that paprika on there. And next, we're going to take some of that cayenne pepper. You don't want to put that much, only if you want it to have a lot of spice. I'm just doing it for flavor. I'm going to take some of that garlic powder, and we're going to put a generous amount of garlic powder on there. You can't go wrong with too much garlic. Never too much garlic. Okay? All right, we're going to use some thyme leaves. And that Old Bay lemon and herbs, never can go wrong with that. That is a hidden gem, my all-time favorite. And some Tony's Creole seasoning. Gotta beat that up out of there. And make sure you just go ahead and rub that seasoning all over the meat. And then you're going to make sure you get it all on the sides. Rub that seasoning up in there. And we're going to flip it over to the other side. And on the other side, all we do is we use the same seasonings that we used in the beginning. We're just going to just run through that really quickly and get this meat seasoned perfectly before we go ahead and get this meat seared off and into that crock pot. Don't forget, you guys, to go ahead and finish seasoning it and make sure you rub the seasonings in. So now we're going to transfer over to our stove, and we're going to just take some coconut oil and get that hot pan sizzling, okay? Listen for it. You hear that sizzle? It gotta sizzle. All right, so first you're just gonna sear that chuck roast over into a pan. I like for it to cook on both sides. I do for about 5 to 6 minutes on both sides. I also sear the sides of the meat just so we can lock in all of those flavors. And in between, you may need to add a little bit more coconut oil. As you can see, that oil is burning out and soaking up into that meat. Okay, see that sear? You want something like that. And you're going to flip it over to the next side. After it's searing on the other side, you just want to check it. I'm trying to get them sides seared. I like to try to render down the little bit of fat that I did see. Uh-oh, somebody's trying to fall. Got him. We're going to take that out that pan. All right. And we're going to just scrape the pan a little bit. And we're going to add in a mixture of beef broth, low sodium, a seasoning mixture with all of the seasonings that we used in the beginning of this video. And we're just going to let that cook for a little moment. And we're just going to add some fresh minced garlic up in there. Well, not a little, a lot. I lied. So we're going to continue to season this, that garlic butter seasoning. And it's more so herbs than anything, oregano leaves. Not using too many items that have salt. You do want to make sure you do generously season your broth. Make sure your chuck roast is generously seasoned. I love me some Sazon seasoning. And next we're going to go ahead and add some of that cumin and add it to your liking. Always add an amount to your liking. Some sage. And you just want to also just make sure that heat is on low. Some paprika. Just mix all that up in there. Most of my seasonings were already mixed into that broth mixture as I did advise. Those were just the few I did miss. And I'm just cracking some freshly cracked pepper in there. Oh, and we're going to go ahead and plop that boy up in that crock pot. Okay. And you just want to pour that pot of good juices up in there. Splat. Yes. And go ahead and put a little of that Lipton onion soup mix in there. I don't put a whole one, just a little. There you go. And then next, I'm going to give it a little stir. Go ahead and mix that around. I did cut up an onion in 4, and I let that cook in there also. It's an enormous amount of flavor. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and let this crock pot do what it's made to do. Put that lid on there and let that cook. There we are. Go back in for a little quality check. Ooh, boom, bow, bam. We got to throw them potatoes in there next. I'm going to go ahead and go in with some yellow potatoes. I put them in probably about 45 minutes to an hour before the roast is done. You just want to go ahead and rinse that off, and then go ahead and go in and mix those potatoes around so they can go ahead and evenly cook while that chuck roast continues to cook for that remaining time needed. Voila. Ooh la la. Now there is our quality check, baby. And I did make some homemade gravy. Good consistency. Splat. Good splat. Can I take you to dinner? And that is our dinner for tonight. We had chuck roast. We have yellow potatoes, macaroni and cheese, and some collard greens and neck bones. What's your appetite?